Formula 1. The sport has rapidly gained popularity, and whether you're a casual, hardcore fan, you probably have a favorite team or driver that you root for. In other words, a fan base that you belong to, either because of their driving, their history, or just for the memes. So today, I decided to explain every single F1 fan base, starting with none other than the Tifosi, otherwise known as the bipolar patients, PTSD survivors, with PTSD standing for pit stop drama and stress disorder. They go by many names. This is the biggest fan base in Formula 1, since they're also the oldest team on the grid and have participated in every single F1 season. Now, the reason Ferrari fans are always depressed is because they got scammed into falling in love with the team thanks to a certain driver you might have heard of called Michael Schumacher. Schumi dominated the early 2000s, building a huge and loyal fanbase in the process, only for them to have the fall-off of the century and not win a single championship drivers or constructors in 17 years. And managed to do this in the most painful ways possible too, to add insult to injury. I mean, they've lost by way of a certain someone cheating, because they built disgraceful cars, because they had awful reliability, because they took their own drivers' souls, you name it. If there is a way to lose, rest assured that they've done it before.
Why are people saying
Ferrari
it's gonna lose to
Red Bull?
Is this real? Am I? Why are people saying
Ferrari
it's gonna lose to
Mercedes?
Potter? Is this a joke?
This year might finally be their year though, knock on wood, after signing Hamilton and developing a pretty promising, albeit ugly ass car for 2025. Speaking of Hamilton, hashtag Team LH. As the name indicates, these are hashtag blessed passionate fans of Sir Lewis Hamilton who love him either because of his bigger than F1 personality or his insane talent and driving ability. Seriously, this guy gets disrespected way too much on social media for what he's achieved. I mean, to fight with Prime Alonso and Raikkonen and almost win in your rookie season is unheard of. That's like Kimi Antonelli jumping in the Mercedes and bringing the fight to Max. This fanbase over the years has gained a negative rep in the F1 community, however, mainly due to some fans who are absolutely mentally ill and still boo the likes of Max Verstappen to this day over Abu Dhabi 2021, when he clearly has nothing to do with what the FIA did that night. Oh, while we're on the topic of 2021, we have Max Verstappen, the part-time F1 driver, full-time sim racist, and a sloth on the weekends. His fan base basically consists of Dutchies, Red Bull fans, and people who saw performances like Brazil 2016 and decided to become a full-time meat rider. I'll let you decide which one I am. It's become all the rage these days to hate on Max though, because he's winning so much. I mean, if you looked from the outside and saw that the same driver won 4 titles in a row, you'd probably think that F1 is the most boring sport ever, second only to like golf. If that's even a real sport. But such is life. The best drivers have always been hated. If you're winning and don't get hate, are you even winning in the first place? Holy shit, that's actually bars. Somebody put that on a t-shirt or something. But yeah, I mean, how can you not like this guy? He's straightforward, he's fast, he's hot. Oh my god, I think I'm gonna... Speaking of busting to Max Verstappen, we have Mercedes. Half the fanbase of this team has evaporated after Lewis left, and the other half are 40-year-old women who want to smash Toto because he's 6'5" and said everybody has a target on their back next year, then proceeded to blow his own driver's back out.
Lewis, we all know that this is a bit of a box to drive at the moment, and sorry for the back also.
And secretly developed a crush on Christian Horner in the process.
Change your car. You've got a problem. Change your fucking car.
You change your car because Checo has been saying the car is fucked and your driver has been going out.
But yeah, they're a relatively new team who only joined in 2010 and have had a generational run of 8 World Championships in a row and have built some of, if not the best V6 hybrid engines in the world. Charles Leclerc fans. This is probably the biggest driver fanbase in F1 right now, second only to like Lewis Hamilton. Charles has garnered this fanbase through his exquisite driving and amazing qualifying. It's because he's hot. Yep, people love him because he's
the man my fiancée imagines when we make love.
And fairly so. I mean, good god, the amount of freaky stuff I read about this man online is a little bit crazy, to put it lightly. But seriously though, if Max wasn't so locked in, Charles could have already been champion, but unfortunately his racing career isn't as successful as his dating life. I mean, this dude has probably spent all of his money just on therapy during 2022. Next thing you know, he's gonna open an OnlyFans just to be able to pay the bills. But how can we talk about Charles without mentioning Carlos Sainz? I mean, Sainz is loved for his unmatched talent, and yep, it's because he's hot too. Even though he has a girlfriend whom the cameraman can't stop gooning to and recording the moment she steps foot into the track. But he's also fast. I mean, he won 4 races, guys. And he's kind of funny. Cool. Lando Norris. Lando has lost a good chunk of his fans after 2024 because it's a long story. I made a video about it if you care, but he's still one of the most loved drivers on the grid still. Mostly because he's charming and far more relatable than other drivers like Lance Stroll. Oh, you thought that was a transition? Oh god, no. This man has no fans, I got nothing to say. But yeah, Lando outside of his personality has a very good potential too. I mean, he did bottle once, or twice, or thrive, but his qualifying and performance on races like Abu Dhabi or Zandvoort show that he can win championships under the right circumstances. Speaking of Lando Norris, let's talk about the Papaya fans, who are a mix of younger fans that got on the Carlando train and older fans that like the team because of their amazing history and legends produced there like Mika Hakkinen, Ayrton Senna, Alain Prost, Kimi Raikkonen and Fernando Alonso, whose fan base is still as big as ever even after 24 years. Dude is still peak after all these years, extracting the maximum out of every car, won 2 championships against Prime Schumacher, is extremely and unfathomably based, has a neck that's more veiny than my and makes the best F1 Tech Talk content I've ever seen. And whilst we're still on the topic of McLaren drivers, I have to mention a newly formed but very much a huge fan base by now, which is that of Oscar PS3. I mean, what is there not to like about him? He's basically the reincarnation of Kimi minus the...
Is it important those that have changed roles get a proper grip on what they are following James's departure?
And he's only been in the sport for 2 seasons and has completed some fire overtakes like it's nothing. Drive to Survive fans. These are the ultra casual fans who probably don't even watch every race and are there for the entertainment outside the cars as much as inside them, which is all well and good. You don't need to know every champion to watch F1. Gatekeeping is stupid. With that being said, avoid them at all costs if you don't want your brain melted with some abhorrent takes no one agrees with. Aston Martin fans. Everyone talks about how Ferrari are on the pain train and all that, but I can't even fathom what it's like to be an Aston fan in 2025. Like, they were goated in 2020, dropped like a brick until they were so back in 2023, only for them to go back to being trash again. Like, this team is one hell of an emotional roller coaster. But that's not all, because they also had to put up with Lance for 7 seasons with no signs of him going anywhere. How the Aston fans haven't lost their minds got me tweaking out. Now that we've covered the big fan bases, let's give some love to some smaller ones, starting with Williams. They're easily the most loved underdog on the grid, and you'll struggle to find someone who actually hates them or doesn't feel a little whimsical when they score good points. And for good reason, because if you're new to F1, it's easy to write them off because they're broke and have been terrible for years, but in reality, they have a very rich history with monsters driving their cars over the years and have won a whopping 9 Constructors' Championships, and I only expect this fanbase to grow since they've recently also signed Carlos Sainz. But Haas are also a loved underdog team that you'd be hard-pressed to find haters for. They joined the grid just a few years ago, and their cameo on the first season of Drive to Survive has made countless people fall in love with the team, thanks in part to Gunther, who has since been nuked, but maybe that was for the best since they're finally doing pretty well and are able to fight in the midfield, but also because they're a small and hard-working team that tries to make do with what they have. Alpine fans. Just kidding, they don't exist, unless they're like French, even though I'm pretty sure French people aren't even real in the first place. Is that like a proven fact? French people are basically lizards or whatever? I'm pretty sure I read that somewhere, like, who even eats this stuff? Anyways, let's move on to Osama bin Russell. His fanbase is basically 3 British oiled up gay dudes who like it when he posts a random zesty shirtless picture for no reason. I mean, I'm pretty sure no one likes this guy outside of that. Like, this might sound controversial, guys, but I have to get it off my chest. Taking down the Twin Towers, pretty awful stuff, man. Oh no, I was joking.